Good Thursday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky.
New today, Farm Aid will not cross a picket line. According to the concert's executive director, the massive show, scheduled for September 20th at Huntington Bank Stadium on the U of M campus, may have to move or cancel. That's if the University of Minnesota and Teamsters Union representing service workers cannot reach a deal before that show. Farm Aid 40 organizers say their crews are set to start putting together the stage for the show tomorrow, and pivoting would be very difficult at this point. Right now, 1,400 service workers across the U of M campuses are striking for better pay and protections. We have a crew on this story tonight. Make sure you stay with KARE 11 News for the very latest on these contract negotiations.
New this afternoon, another person of interest in the assassination of political activist Charlie Kirk. The FBI releasing these photos saying they are a person of interest in the deadly shooting of Kirk at Utah Valley University yesterday. That manhunt starting 24 hours ago after Kirk was shot on campus during an event. This photo taken just seconds before he was killed. Earlier today, President Trump, whom Kirk was a close ally, said he will posthumously receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Police say they now have good footage of the shooter who arrived on campus Wednesday morning, and they believe they have the gun used in the shooting as well. Investigators seen today on the rooftop where they believe that deadly shot was fired. Morgan Chesky is on campus at Utah Valley University with new details.
Yeah, here in Orem, Utah, authorities sharing some stunning new details in a press conference where they were finally able to start to build a bit of a timeline regarding the actions of this gunman, saying that they believed he arrived on campus here at Utah Valley University at 11:52 a.m. and that through surveillance footage, they were able to piece together whom they believe is what appears to be a college-aged male making his way through stairwells onto a roof of a building where they say at 12:20 p.m. he fired that single fatal shot that killed a 31-year-old Charlie Kirk. Now, this shot was roughly about 200 yards away. They say that following that shot, the gunman then left the roof, jumped off a building, and ran into a nearby neighborhood. Now, because of nonstop investigative work, they were able to recover a high-powered bolt-action rifle in a nearby wooded area adjacent to that neighborhood. They believe that is the weapon the gunman used. They cleared that area, and they made it very clear that they don't believe this community at large is at risk because they believe this was a targeted attack at this Turning Point USA event on campus. And students here tell me that this was an event that they had known about for some time, with posters being posted and everyone well aware that Charlie Kirk was going to begin his nationwide tour right here in Orem, Utah. Meanwhile, FBI encouraging anyone with video or pictures of that scene to please share with them immediately. We'll send it back to you.
This latest instance of politically charged violence is getting reaction from around the country. This as a Minnesota senator says Charlie Kirk played a major role in getting her into politics. Raya Katane is here with more.
To be indicted.
Less than 2 weeks before he was scheduled to speak in Minneapolis at the University of Minnesota, conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot dead on a Utah college campus.
I haven't even fully processed what's happening today. He was one of the very first people to give me a shot in politics.
10 years ago, Kirk hired now Minnesota State Senator Julia Coleman to work for his company in its early stages.
While he created this crazy empire, and when I worked for him, it was out of his garage of his parents' house. All he really wanted to do was be a dad. And it's terrible that those who want to say what they believe are increasingly growing in fear, especially after everything we've seen here personally in Minnesota.
What this has brought back to me is 1968, because I was a young adult in 1968 when there were a series of assassinations. And we've, of course, had an assassination in Minnesota. And so it gave me a sense of dread about whether we are entering another season where people use violence as a political tool.
Bill Doherty co-founded the nonpartisan group Braver Angels with the goal of fostering civil discourse after the 2016 presidential election. But the former University of Minnesota professor says that political divide is now even greater than it was, with many seeing the other side as an enemy.
With enemies, we go to war and we kill them. And domestic politics has been taking on the characteristics of war. It used to be that somebody did a terrible killing and assassination, and they were condemned for that. Now, they become heroes to some people.
Doherty says the solution starts with all of us building bridges, not division.
We've all contributed to this, and we have to together find a way out of this toxic division we have.
Raya Katene there. Moving on to this afternoon, one of the students shot at their Colorado high school yesterday is now out of the hospital. The other victim still fighting for their life right now. The gunman, according to police, took his own life. That's after opening fire with a revolver, according to investigators, and hitting two people. Ring doorbell footage shows students running from the scene shortly after shots rang out there. Police say they were on scene in less than 2 minutes and made contact with the shooter about 3 minutes after that. The superintendent of that district spoke after the shooting.
Safety requires vigilance, partnership, and the unflinching belief that our children deserve better. We cannot pretend that this is just another tragic incident.
Right now, mental health resources for the students and staff are available there. The school and several surrounding it in Evergreen, Colorado, were closed today. Fuel, or lack of it, may be the reason behind a deadly small plane crash last week in Cambridge, Minnesota. An early report from the NTSB says their investigators found the aircraft's fuel system dry, despite there being plenty in the right wing's main tank. Authorities are still looking into exactly what happened leading up to that crash. The identity of the pilot has not been released. Got a look from New York City this afternoon as the nation marks 24 years since the 9/11 attacks. Nearly 3,000 people died that day after planes crashed into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and a field in Pennsylvania. Ceremonies honoring the victims at all three sites happening this morning. At the site of the Twin Towers, every single victim's name was read off. Here at home, volunteers honoring the victims and first responders at Fort Snelling National Cemetery. They cleaned off headstones and beautified the grounds in tribute to first responders and the military community. It's part of a nationwide movement by the nonprofit Carry the Load, which works at more than 60 VA cemeteries. Hundreds of volunteers also spending the day packing meals for the hungry at River Center Auditorium. That event called Remember the Good by Doing Good, and this is its 4th year of doing just that. In just over a year, Minnesotans are going to elect the next state's governor. But right now, Governor Walz is giving strong hints about his plans to run for a 3rd term. At an event in Inver Grove Heights, we asked Walz directly if he'll jump into the race. Here's what he said.
We want to make an official announcement here in the next, I think, few days to try and get out there. It's a privilege of a lifetime to serve as the governor of Minnesota. I said there's no guarantee that this is your spot to have, but I would also say I am very proud of the work we've done. Again, when I hear things like child care or we talk about the uncertainty in the federal government, I think that steels me that this is one of those things I don't think you switch horses midstream.
Right after this, he was pressed further on whether he's leaning toward running for a 3rd term. He told reporters, quote, "I think that's a safe assumption," end quote. But as you heard Walz say, official announcements will come out in the next few days. Right now, we're learning about disruptions at the U of M Twin Cities as union service workers continue their strike. Teamsters Local 320 shared this TikTok video allegedly showing a U of M student in a dining hall with not a lot of food there and no workers. The union blamed the university for not investing in the people who make the campus run. Most residential dining is unaffected, but all retail dining and what they say is robot delivery is out of service right now. But now the university is responding to different reports of harassment by the picketers to the temp workers that are filling in, writing, quote, "Threatening people based on their national origin, damaging private property, and preventing supplies from being delivered to a critical healthcare facility are unacceptable actions and will not be tolerated," end quote. The union claims that those reports are not true. New details today about the search for a Wisconsin man who faked his own drowning death and then went to Eastern Europe. Newly released texts show Ryan Borgwart told his wife that he was going to Green Lake to watch the Northern Lights. By morning, she was worried he wasn't home. In a newly released interrogation video, Borgwart says he second-guessed his plan several times.
And then at some point I decided to do it. So tossed the phone further to the north from where he was. Inflated the boat.
Everybody's a little bit perplexed as to why you took this path.
Guess it. In the end, it came down to the feeling of failure in about every aspect of your life.
Right now, Ryan Borgwart is serving an 89-day sentence. Stick with us. We got more news, more weather coming up after the break.